verse 17 on chapter 49 in Psalms. Al tira ki yasharish. Do not fear when man becomes rich, when you remain poor. In other words, don't look at him and say, oh my gosh, why not me? Ki yirbek kvad beso, when he increases the splendor of his house. Ki lo b'moso yikach hakol, for when he dies, he will not take anything at all with him. Lo yered achrav kevodo, his splendor and his honor will not follow him to the grave. To verse 19, although he will bless himself during his lifetime and consider himself beyond reproach, others will not praise him at all. However, others will praise you if you improve yourself and your deeds. Verse 20, the wicked person will come to realize that his father's generation, which pursued only material wealth, will never see the light of the world to come. Adam bikar v'lo yavinim shal kabehemes nidmu. Verse 21, and the last verse on the chapter. He will also come to realize that if a man glorifies himself because of his great material wealth, without understanding that this glory has no lasting value, then he is like the animals which are unable to speak and have no intelligence. Remember, I told you last week that this chapter is a chapter that is said in the house of mourning. And it's to get people to really start thinking, what is life all about? But it's not only life. It speaks about richness, it speaks about wealth. But the truth of the matter is, you know what King David is telling us? How precious time is. We have this gift called time that keeps on moving, and it doesn't stop for anything, for anyone, for any creation. Not only does it not stop for anyone, you could be a noble person, you could be a president, you can be a king, a prince, you could be a poor person, a rich person, a philanthropist, and ask God, give me another second, give me 2 minutes. But nothing stops. So your money really doesn't mean anything. Nothing really means anything. Except the greatest gift is how we manage our time, how we manage this gift, because we are limited in time. A person leases a car, a 3-year lease. We know the limitations, that it's only going to last 3 years and then we get another car. In the middle of this, we have another problem. The car might break down in the middle of the lease. We don't know when that's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. We don't know if it happens, how it's going to be fixed, if it will be fixed. We don't know if, God forbid, there'll be an accident and the car will be totaled. We just don't know. You buy a computer today or an iPhone, you know there's going to be a limit to that because the new stars are coming out, and the iPhones and the new Googles and the new Windows and the new everything with all the new research and everything else. There's limitations. We know also we have a gift called time. And time is also has its limitations. There's only one thing. We don't know when our time is going to be up. And the perfect proof to that was, my friends, the COVID virus, COVID-19. No one knew. We're going to get it, we're not going to get it. And when someone got it, when they were on a ventilator, how long will it take? What will it take? All of a sudden, the healthiest people like that, people that finally were making it, they had diabetes, they had this, they had that. They knew that, oh, we have something, but all of a sudden, boom, this came and took them away. We don't know what's going to be when we cross the street. We don't know. We take for granted. But no one's going to know. No one knows when their time is up. You know, time, I would say, is a lot like money. You give someone money, if he manages it right, he has it. And he has it for when he needs it. But if you give it to him, and all is going on, the money is going on the sports games, and the bars, and the drinks, and the girls, and the having a good time, then when he really needs it, he can't manage it, right? When he really needs it, he just doesn't have it. Time is the same thing. How much of our time, there are many people, they have time, but what are they doing? They spend the time. Some people kill their time. There's old saying, spend the time, kill the time. Some people are doing time. Some people have time and don't know what to do with it. I have so much time. COVID virus showed us we had a lot of time on our hands. What do we do with it? We're going crazy. We go crazy. We don't know what to do with our time. I wish I didn't have that much time, people say. And yet, when someone is on, they know within the next few hours, that is it. Their greatest regret is going to be, why did they waste their time? Why did we not spend more time instead of spending time on shtusim, as they say, on foolish things, on things that really don't matter? Why don't we spend more time with our family, with our spouse? Why don't we spend more time with our grandchildren, with our children, with our parents? We go through a time that we have to say Kaddish. For our father, for our mother, and unfortunately some of us are saying already for both. Why didn't we spend more time with our parents? Weren't we better children? That all has to do with time. Because when we're younger, we think we're living forever. I don't believe that there's any of us on this Zoom conference who, when we were younger, we didn't have the dreams of, wow, we can do anything. The world's in front of us. We have all this world to conquer, and we're going to live forever. We have all this time. And all of a sudden, I look around. I turn 30 and 40 and 50 and 60. And I say, famous line, where did the time go? How much of our time really was used properly? And this is what David HaMelech is saying here, especially in Yud Zayin and verse 17. We're always looking at someone else's pocket. Whether we have it or we don't have it, it's always greener. Like I said, Shabbos on the other side. And yet David HaMelech says, Al tira ki yasharish. Don't look at somebody else, at their richness. Don't look at their houses. Don't look at their mansions. Don't look at the honor they're getting. You know why? This is what it says, and this is why we say it in the house of mourning. When a person dies, he takes nothing with him. He had the greatest honor. He was the biggest. He had an entourage. And you know what? All that covet, that honor that he got, those riches that he got throughout his life, everything stays here. He doesn't take a cent with him. How much of our money and everything is wasted on just foolish things when we don't spend it on things that matter? And that all has to do with time. Time is a gift from God that we don't know when our limitations are going to finish. And he finishes off right at the end, David HaMelech. Very, very interesting thing he says in verse 21. Adam bikar v'la yavin. He will also come to realize that if man glorifies himself because of his great material wealth, without understanding that this glory has no lasting value, This honor we get has no lasting value. The millions we have has no lasting value. Then he's like Nimshal Kabahemis Nidmu. He is like the animals which are unable to speak and have no intelligence. All it is interested in is the selfish part of the animal, to preserve itself, to make sure it has what it needs. And it can't think that there is a greater world around. You know what's going to last? When we do someone a favor. I say it all the time. And you know, it's hitting me more and more, I guess, maybe as I'm getting a little older. And I see my grandchildren growing up. And I think about how much more time I should have spent with my parents. And I say, Ribono Shel Olam, the greatest thing is to give the time, the gift I have from God, to also give it to other people. That will last. No one's going to put on their grave, he didn't spend enough time in his office. You're not going to see that. He should have wanted to spend more time. No. What a person will be remembered for is, what did he do for humanity? Not, wow, he was that great. He was so rich. What did he do with his richness? What did he do with that honor? And what did he do with that time? Because the bottom line is, you, me, man, woman, rabbi, priest, layman, Jewish, not Jewish, we all have a limited amount of time. If you remember last week, it said, we learned in verses 2 and 3 in this chapter, it said, Shimu zos kol ha'am mima'azinu kol yeshvei choled. Listen, all the nations of the world. It does not say, listen to me, Jews. King David wasn't talking about just Jews. Gentiles also have time, that they're living off time, borrowed time, as they say. The whole world it applies to. And then verse 3, it says, Gam b'nei Adam, Gam b'nei Yish, Gam Masha v'Evion, whether you're noble, whether you're simple, whether you're rich, whether you're poor. Just because we accumulated the millions and billions of dollars doesn't mean that that's going to keep us going longer. Doesn't mean we have extra time because of that. And doesn't mean we can buy time and bribe time. What are we doing with our time? What are we doing with our riches, which is a gift from God? What are we doing with all our possessions, which is a gift of God? And how do we spend time? Are we just killing time? Are we spending time correctly? You know, I said this before, I'm going to say it again. When people come to me and tell me, boy, I don't know what to do. I'm having such problems with my parents. I'm having such problems with my mother, with my father. They're getting older. I don't know what to do anymore. I turn around to Sui and I say, boy, alavai, I should have such problems. I'd give anything away for another minute of such a problem. You know, we know the Lubavitcher Rebbe had no children. He had no children. It's interesting. Last week we celebrated his yahrzeit, 26 years. When he died, he left a lot of orphans, but he had no children. Someone once comes into him in a private audience, and he breaks down in tears. Someone came into the Rebbe, comes into the Lubavitcher Rebbe private audience, and he's crying. Says he has such problems with his child. He's going off the derech, and I don't know what to do with him, and he's not listening. And while this guy is looking down, crying, he lifts up his head and he sees the Rebbe with his hands over his face, covering his face, crying like a baby. And the guy looks at the Rebbe and he's shocked. Did he say something to the Rebbe that wasn't proper? He's shocked and he says, Rebbe, I'm sorry, what did I say wrong? I'm sorry if I made you cry. He said, no. The problems, what you told me didn't make me cry. He says, if only I was able to have such problems. If only I could have such problems. I didn't have children. If only I would have a child and I would have such a problem. And that's the same thing I say. If only I could have just one more minute of problems with my mother, or problems with my father. Give me one more minute. And I don't even get that. That's what life's all about. Not killing our time. Not doing our time on this world. You know, a prisoner does time in jail. What does he do in jail? Sits there, goes through his daily routine, is waiting for time to be up. Another day. A lot of us are doing time down in this world. Another day. We go to work, we go here, we come back, the same procedure, same routine, same everything. We forget to spend our time and use our time properly. Use our time to spend with our parents. Use the time to spend with our spouses, with our children, grandchildren. Use our time to help other people. Do you know the greatest thing that will remain when we go? That people will remember us for what we helped other people. That'll keep our legacy, our name alive. Otherwise, we're doing our time on this world. We're killing our time. What were you doing? You came here, you traveled so far. Yeah, I had to kill time. That's the worst thing a person can say. I have to kill time. Think about it. You know what that means? Time is worthless. We have to kill it. Every minute, everything is proper. There was a great rabbi, Rabbi Akiva Eger was his name. He's a great commentary on the Talmud. Rabbi Akiva Eger said once that he became what he is in 5 minutes. 5 minutes? How did you become what you became in 5 minutes? He says, when I was waiting for a ride, 5 minutes I was waiting, I didn't waste those 5 minutes. I was looking in a book, reading. When I was on a train for a few minutes, I didn't waste those few minutes. I kept on reading. In other words, every few minutes, every 5 minutes I had free, I used properly. How many of us, I'm talking about myself, I don't know if I could say that. And I look back at life, how much did I waste? How much of my time did I waste? And the last verse here is, Adam bikar v'lo yavin nibshal kabehemis nidbu. A person who just does his time, who kills his time, who doesn't think and contemplate about his time and how he can use his time properly for other people, is like an animal who lives to exist. It does what it has to do, when it has to do, for X amount of years, and then the animal is gone. No thinking animal, has no intelligence, and no way to say, wait a minute. Maybe I could have done something different. Maybe I can still add to society. Now, I don't mean to insult anyone, okay? I have a lot of good friends that have dogs, and they're a man's best friend, as they say, but I never heard a dog say yet, "Oh, I should have thought differently. Oh, I wasted my time. I'm so sorry, I did it in your yard, I'm so sorry." I never heard any remorse from an animal. I never heard any, you know what? Maybe I should bark a little softer. Maybe. It's all instinct. I And again, a dog is a man's best friend. I don't want to insult anyone's dog, God forbid. Okay? Okay, it's two things I got to be careful. What I say politically these days and what I say about dogs. Okay? But the bottom line is, if we're just doing time and just existing, we're no better than the animals and the cows. We're no better than that. Our good deeds, my friends, what we do for other people, how we give other people our time and our patience to do someone else a favor. The time that we invest in other people, the time we invest in family and friends and neighbors, in our shuls, in our congregations. This world is, what did we do for others? Not what did we do for ourselves, not the time we gave ourselves, the vacations we took, not the money we spent on ourselves. What did we give to others? Otherwise, we're just sitting here existing, and David HaMelech says at the end of the chapter, Nimshal kabehemais nidmu. If we don't contemplate how to use our time, we're just like the animals. No intelligence, no contemplation. Do what we do. Yeah, they're man's best friend. But with instinct. We're going to attack the owner, they'll attack us. That's how it works. But it's all instinct. Are we animalistic or are we godly and divine? My friends, doesn't matter how observant we are, it doesn't matter how much observance we lack. We are all godly. We are all children of God. And we all have to be there for each other and be godly to each other and use our time in a godly fashion. And that's the theme of chapter 49. Using our time correctly, godly, helping others. And this is the whole reason that the custom that saying chapter 49, we say it at the end of davening in the house of a mourner. I wish everyone a good day, a safe week. All of you be well.